Yes, guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. It has been a very, very long time since we uploaded on the channel.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Excited for this. It's actually been a while, but it's a new year and we want to make sure that we start on a good note, giving you guys
Yeah,
as value as we can, and just
absolutely.
essentially covering as much as we can for you guys. And yeah, again, if you have any specific topics that you guys want to go through that you want us to go through as well, just put it in the comments and we'll just kind of go through them.
So today we are going to be covering about customer avatar. So what makes a customer avatar, how to identify them, what separates the demographic to customer avatar, etc. Just anything to do with customer avatar is what we're going to be covering today.
This is a customer avatar. We're not going to cover exactly what a customer avatar is because I'm sure majority of you guys are familiar with it. But if you're not, let us know and we can kind of go and explain that as well. But this is mainly about how many avatars do you have as a business. And usually a lot of people believe that only have one, but there's actually about two or three, sometimes depending on how big you are, you can be three or five, depending on what you are as a company or as a business. And you have how many avatars you have. Number one, identifying it. Avatars and demographics, core buyers, how to find your avatars, and how running ads help to actually reach them as well. So just let's go through them.
Yes.
So very good question. And I think this is something that every business owner, especially as you're growing, is something that you should really aim to identify. How many avatars do I actually have? Is it just one? Is it just what is directly in front of me? Or are there more that I'm not aware of and I need to find? Most brand owners think that they have one to two customer avatars, and in reality, it's three to four and depending, like I said, five to six. This is even higher. So five to six for bigger brands as well. And demographics get attention, and avatar gets sales. So it's important to know your demographics and know who you're actually targeting. But you need to know who they are, what do they like, what they don't like, their pains. What do they seek for, who they want to be.
At the end of the day, guys, you're not gonna have just one or two people that's buying from your brand. You're gonna have multiple different customers. Everyone buys for different reasons. Everyone has different pain points or different goals as to why they're buying from your brand. Let me go back. So this is where a lot of brand owners actually get confused and they mistake demographics for customer avatars. So demographic is who they are and your avatar is why they buy. So for example, demographics, we have age, gender, location, income, the device. So it could be, they're using their smartphone, they're using their MacBook, they're using a tablet. Wherever the device it is, this is just all the demographics. But then we have the actual reason as to why they're buying because like I said, a second ago, people buy for different reasons. So it could be a motivational purpose as to why a customer's buying, or pain or desire, a certain buying trigger that they might have seen in a video or something that you said in one of your posts or something that has made them want to click onto your website, put the product in add to cart and actually make a purchase, or a couple objections, or even the language in terms of how you position your brand in the market when it comes to your content or your website, etc. These are all reasons as to why a customer avatar will actually buy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when it comes to this, exactly, a lot of the times because of the nature of the business that we're in, that we speak to a lot of business owners, especially e-commerce, they say that they know, and a lot of times they kind of do based on who is buying from them.
Yeah.
They can tell us their age, they can tell us their gender, etc. But when it comes to translating that to position themselves beyond the product, that's where they find a struggle. So a lot of the times, business owners know that okay, if let's say it's a skincare brand or it's a beauty brand, they know that predominantly their customer is going to be a woman, but they don't know what motivates that woman to buy from them.
Yeah.
What motivates that woman to buy from them instead of someone else? Like, what do you offer as a brand that will make that woman be motivated to continue to buy from you? Or, like you said in the second one, what kind of pain do they have? Because a lot of people is like, oh, yeah, like maybe skincare. Everyone wants to have good skin, but why do this particular person wants to have good skin? Is it something to do with their background? Is it that they were bullied when they were younger because they had a lot of acne and sports, and then they couldn't get their skin clear, etc., etc., and that has caused them to constantly have a trauma because of that. So it just really depends how deep you want to go when it comes to your avatar, and the deeper you go, usually the more you convert because essentially, like we said at the beginning, it is the avatar that actually gets you the sales. So yeah.
Can you take us through like when the last time you might have bought something, I don't know, clothing, supplement, a drink, and obviously maybe you've seen it on an ad or you just seen it on social media or you go onto a website. What was the reason for you actually making that purchase?
I think for me personally, yeah, I'm a buyer that I'm not really impulsive, even though I used to be, but I think a lot of my recent buys have been very calculated based on what need I have, or maybe if there's a lack. So,
Yeah.
for example, right, we're gonna like getting into running, for example. And I was talking to you about this where I like running, but the last time I was running consistently, I had to stop running because I didn't have the right footwear. And even though the footwear that I had was good because there were trainers, but they weren't specifically for what I was trying to achieve. And in
Yeah.
that sense, I got injured through that, and through that injury, I had to stop running. So, if now, let's say you were to be a company that owns, that helps athletes or helps runners to, get the best performance, like I think it's like your hookers, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
like is the best way to position because what they're so strong at is that they have different um, footwear for depending on where you're running. If you're running on asphalt, if you're running on concrete, if you're running on track, and that gives me as a buyer something that I desperately need if I want to continue on my running journey. So that's an example for me where if I want to be consistent, if I don't want to get injured or minimize injuries, I will be looking at things like that, the pain point that actually solving or the desire that I'm looking for. I want to be fitter. I want to be able to achieve certain goals when I'm running. And I think things like that, in terms of pain or desire, are the things I'll be looking at as a buyer or potential buyer when I'm looking at footwear. So yeah,
Yeah. Great answer. So guys, now we're going to take you through the core buyers. Obviously, there's many different buyers, but let's take you through these three. So we got problem aware, aspirational, and value seeker. So with problem aware, this is someone that's buying to fix something specific or pain driven. We have aspirational, so buying for identity, confidence, status, or emotion led. And then lastly, we have value seeker. So this is someone that might be buying because it makes sense, or the price, or the buying because the price is just right, or the comparison features compared to a different brand just makes more sense for them. So now you can say that Restyle, when he bought his shoes, was because it was for a problem because obviously he was in pain because his feet was hurting. I was in the same predicament as well. I had just normal Nike shoes which were comfortable, but over time when it comes to running, it's not actually comfortable, especially because the ground is hard, or especially in England, it's very cold over here. So
yeah.
you have to make sure that you have the right running gear, not just the clothes that you're wearing, but also the right running shoes as well.
I was actually going to ask you a question. So by the way, guys, this is not a paid promo for hookers. They're not paying us. It's just a good brand.
We might even bleep it out to be fair, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I just want to ask you a question based on these three core buyer types.
Yeah.
Which one do you think that people should focus the most, or which one would you think that a lot of customers or potential customers are really looking for in our day and age? Is it like problem aware? Is it aspirational and value seeking? Because the reason why I'm asking is because obviously in the aspiration it says emotion led type of
Mhm.
buyers. So which one do you think based on your experience so far? Like,
Well, I think because of the way the world is going right now, people are becoming more conscious. So I can say it's probably more problem aware. So they want to be, when it comes to a clothing brand or even a skincare brand, people want more clean beauty there. Or if it's a clothing brand, they want it to be sustainable. They want it to be made to last for a long time. They don't want that
yeah,
quick fashion. So I would say, yeah, most people right now, obviously, yeah, there's billions of people in the world. Everyone has different buying personas, but I can probably say one of the main ones is definitely a problem aware because, like I said, people are becoming more conscious of where they actually spend their money.
yeah, I think that one as well. When it comes to, I think is heavily dependent on what kind of niche are you in as well. So, for
Yeah,
example, like in skincare, yeah, you say that it's a lot to do with like what the pain and what actually taking in the body or putting on the body, or even with like food, the gut health is a big thing right now. So like when
yeah,
it comes to like these kind of industries, but then it's like for example, if it's coaching. I think a lot of the times, like emotional led, so the aspirational, like who you want to be, like you're buying an identity, you're buying a position, you're buying a status. I think that's where this kind of buyer type is very, very strong as well when it comes to that. And the last one I'll say, when it comes to value, I do have I would say, I don't know what to call it, if it's a challenge when it comes to value. I think like value is great, but a lot of the times, value without results is absolutely useless.
yeah,
I think that's one thing that every single person in business should be focusing. It's good to give value, but if that value does not bring results, is for nothing. Yeah, they can compare it and say, okay, well, let's say this pen is better than this pen, but it's like, what results is this pen gonna get me that's better than this one at the end of the day? So I think when it comes to value, it's also being aware that the value that you're bringing has to be bringing results as well. I'd say as a business owner, and if, let's say skincare, if you're on a skincare brand or a beauty brand, you need to really identify your avatars. The reason being is because you can fall into the trap of wanting to cater for all these three people. So
Yeah.
you maybe want to cater for like, yeah, people that just are problem conscious, or people that just want to, because when you're buying luxury, usually you're buying a feeling, you're buying a kind of status, right? And then the budget conscious. Now the problem with this is like, if you want to sell the luxury type of skincare, the luxury type of feeling, sometimes you cannot fit in someone that's budget conscious, because obviously luxury is more expensive. It costs more. So the trap that you can fall into is that, oh yeah, because you want everyone to be part of your brand, or you want everyone to be buying from your brand, you start getting challenges with the person that focus on budget and wanting to come in at a low cost are complaining that your products are too high. So then it's like, that's why it's very, very important for you to identify what kind of avatars are you, or if you have different products, or if you believe that the brand that you're building can cater to these different avatars, you need to identify why and how you're going to actually do that.
All right, guys. So we got two more. So this is how to find your customer avatars. So this could be reviews, DM, support tickets, content data. Obviously, there's loads of other ways I've seen where sometimes you might go into a skincare brand or even just a fashion brand, for example. You go onto the website and then they have a questionnaire for you to answer, and then it tailors you to a certain product. So right there is them identifying their customer avatar. So there's loads
Okay.
of different ways to do it. So let's go with reviews. So sometimes people might see an ad or they might just come across your brand, but they want to see reviews from real people before they actually make a purchase. They want to see the good reviews and they also want to see bad reviews, because at the end of the day, sometimes a bad review can also persuade your the decision to actually you buy it. Even though it's a bad review, but it can still make you buy.
Yeah.
Now DM, so for example, you can message someone on Instagram, and then obviously if you respond to them in 24 hours, obviously they can full connect to the brand and then you can answer their questions. These two are kind of the same. It just that with the support tickets, it's more so like a live chat, so a customer can get responses straight away, and then
Yeah.
that can also just persuade their buying position. I mean their buying decision. And then we have content data. So content right now, what would you say, Resto, is in terms of like your marketing strategy? How important is content?
I'd say content is king. I'd say more than 50%, I'd say.
Mhm.
Reason being is because of how social media is positioned at the moment, it's very fast paced. So there's a lot of noise that's constantly happening in the eyes of your potential customers. So if you are not able to cut through the noise, it's very, very hard to actually identify who actually wants to buy from you. Why do they want to buy from you? So you positioning your content in such a way where you can reach your ideal customer and your community, which is that's something that we heavily stress about when it comes to community, because your community actually tells you a lot. Within your community, there's other communities, and this is something that's very, very
Mhm.
important. Like when you're building a brand, and as you're getting larger, you're growing. Yes, you have a bunch of people within, let's say, your social media platforms or your email list, but even within those people, there's different type of communities, because in there are different problems that you may be solving. Maybe people are coming to you because just they just like how relatable you can be as a brand. Other people within that same community that love what you're doing, they just love because of what kind of results they're getting from you. Also in that same community, people are connecting because they share the same problems and they're able to relate to each other as well. So that's the beauty. The beauty about community is that once you are building it with consciousness, you can actually identify more communities within your community, and that helps you with the avatar as well, I believe. Just to touch on the reviews as well, I think you need, if we really want to be honest, people buy from people at the end of the day. And I can trust a brand much more if someone like Dominic, which is my business partner and friend for over 12 years, is gonna tell me like, yeah, buy is good. Reason being is because it comes from a trustworthy source. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
if people are seeing that other strangers are buying from you, then even though they don't know them personally, but they're most likely to buy. And I think also, which I've seen a lot, when it comes to reviews, people are very specific as to why they believe in that review. So if they leave in a bad review, they usually, let's say, or maybe like the packaging came and it was poorly packed and whatever, whatever. So they tell you exactly why they're giving you that bad 1 star. At the same in the same position, if someone is giving you a 5 star review, usually they tell you why. Oh, this product is something I've never used before, or I've used others before, but this is so different in terms of the result that you got me. And that's where you can position yourself ahead of your competition as well in front of your avatars. Because at the end of the day, you have to put it this way: when it comes to identifying your customer avatars, you have to realize that your competition is actually doing the same thing. They're doing the same research. They're trying to identify the same customers so they can actually steal them from you. So, unfortunately, we are living in a world where it's either eat or be eaten. So you have to actually
Yeah.
make sure that you get there.
And again, with reviews as well, even DMs, you can use both of these to create content.
Yeah,
So, whether it's a bad review or a good review, sometimes in this world that we live in, people like to see negative things, and then you can turn something negative into a positive. So, for
yeah.
example, someone can just leave a hate comment on one of your videos saying this product actually doesn't work, but they might not have even bought from you, but it might just be a competitor that's actually written that message, or it might just be an Instagram bot. But you can take that message, have it in your video, and then you can show the problems that your product actually solves for your customers. So it's always good to just use these reviews or DMs as a way for you to create content.
And ask questions as well, guys. Like make sure you're always asking questions to your community, asking questions to the people that you already know. Even if you think that right now you only have one customer avatar, ask that or two, ask them questions because the more you ask questions, the more you know how to position yourself, the more you know how to cater and the more you know how to research as well to those potential other avatars that are existing. So yeah. So how running ads actually helps to identify more customer avatars. As don't create demand, they reveal it. Understand people, scale the brand. This is, I think, personally, one of the most pivotal things for any brand. And it's not just running ads, but it's when to run ads. If you run ads too early, usually it just crushes your brand because you haven't even identified one or two strong customer avatars. But once you're able to identify those two, the first two, and you start running ads, you identify new audiences, you identify new buying behaviors, you identify new ask or questions that they may have for you, which then you can in return bring a solution to. So a lot of the times we don't know that we have a solution until the problem arises. And what the ads do is actually help you to reach a wider audience, which in return obviously it kind of identifies different pattern behaviors, buying personas as well. And that's exactly why you need to be running ads constantly if you're in a position to do so. And that's why there's a necessity to be also testing your ads. Because what do you think when it comes to testing and identifying customer avatars? Like how important it is, would you say?
So for me, I think testing is crucial and it's very, very important. Obviously, there's many times where we speak to founders and we might be working with them, or even if we don't work with them, they always mention testing, but they want to test quickly. They only want to test for like 2 weeks or even a month. But testing is you always want to be testing because there's always going to be a different sort of customer avatar that you can identify. And this also helps for when you're running ads because you have different stages of the funnel. So you have a top funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel. Your top funnel is your cold funnel, middle funnel is your warm funnel, and then you have your bottom funnel, which is your hot audience. So the cold audience, these are customers who have never heard of your brand. So the way you market to a cold audience is going to be different to the way you market to a warm audience and to a hot audience. So when you're doing your top funnel ads, this is where you can get across your unique selling points, so this separates you from another brand that's doing exactly the same thing as you. Then you have your warm audiences. This is where you're reactivating your customers. So these are audiences who maybe haven't purchased in a while, or customers who know about the brands in terms of they've seen your ads before, or they've just seen your content. They follow your social media platforms, they've been on your website, but they just didn't make a purchase because there wasn't enough there for them. So the way you target them is going to be completely different to your top funnel. Then we have my favorite funnel, which is the bottom funnel, and these are your hot audiences, as I said before. So these are customers who have added to cart or initiate checkout, but for some reason something has stopped them from purchasing. Maybe they wanted to see more reviews. Maybe they want to see more problem solving, solution. Maybe they wanted to find a better deal from a different brand. There's loads of different reasons as to why customers buy. So you just need to identify this, and then once you do understand, your customers, this will help you scale your brand in the long run.
Yeah. I'd say ads are great to identify what kind of entry point your potential customers or different audiences will be comfortable with as well.
Yeah.
And this happened recently with one of our brands. where we had a good offer. We know that based on what we have been doing, actually worked and has been working. But when it came to the season of actually, I think it was Black Friday. But when it came to the season, or just before that, when it came to the season of actually running the ads, we identified that because of this, where it was, or the season that we were in running ads, the entry point, some of the customers were good with it, but other customers weren't good with it. So we had to quickly pivot in order to make sure that we're getting the best results out of that. And I think it's massively, massively important for you to understand that, okay, maybe someone can buy your, your highest product, but you could have something in that is maybe lower, the same value, and that is they it will get them through the line. And at the end of the day, I think a smaller sell is better than no sell at all. Like I
Mm.
think it was there's a billionaire that said this quote, but he said that actually it was Rick Ross. He said we leave no money on the table. Like it means that if you can take 50 today, it's better than not than you just wanting your 100 today, basically. So it's very, very important for you, like, as a brand, to position yourself that anyone that comes in that is a suitable customer, potential customer, has an opportunity to have an experience with the brand. Because once they actually come through the door, they maybe the results that they get from the product, the results that they get from using them, or the experience alone, it could be something that would want them to upgrade. And a lot of the times, people don't go for lower because they can't afford it. They just are struggling to trust it yet. So when they enter from that lower entry point and they begin to trust it and know that your product is good as well, then they're most likely to actually invest in higher products as well. So yeah,
But guys, thank you. This will be it for today
thank you guys.
and the share. I hope you guys have found this valuable. As Rosal said at the start, if you guys have any topics that you want us to cover, and obviously we can cover it for you, just let us know in the comments and then we can let you know.
Okay, guys.
Take care.